Good morning or good day or good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Movified podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hershey, owner of Salmon's Transfer, right here in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And it is my pleasure to guide you with the ins and outs of the moving industry, sharing insights, stories, and tips to help your moving business thrive. This episode is made special by our friends and partners at the Mover Marketing AI. When I first started working with them, I knew our digital marketing needed a boost. But I didn't realize how transformative their approach could be, from meticulously optimizing our website for search engines to crafting engaging content that resonates with our audience. Mover Marketing AI has redefined what it means to be visible online. So if you're ever wondering how to improve your moving company, stand out online, I highly recommend you collaborate with Mover Marketing AI. But today I have a special guest. I have Regan Weiss from The Contractor, from his book, Keep Going. This individual to me that I got to meet at the Moving Titan Retreat has been an inspiration. One of the biggest things, and we're going to talk about it, was as soon as he was speaking, I was texting my wife being like, I love you so much. You are my partner and my go-to. And we're going to wonder why I was texting that to my wife in a little bit. But Regan, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself and say hi to everybody?
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the connection. Glad I met you at the Titan Retreat. And yeah, I do a lot of things, but like we kind of talked about before the camera started rolling, business is business, customer service is customer service. And although I am not truly in the moving industry, I kind of am now. I was adopted by the Titans. So I kind of am in the moving industry now. And I can tell you that I've learned a lot about it, and I've learned to respect it. Like at the end of the day, I respect all businesses, but I see what you guys have to go through and how there's not like you don't really have qualifications or certifications or anything like that. So you guys have a lot of turnaround in regards to staff, and it's a lot. You guys have to go through a lot. So it's just tip of the hat, the nod for you guys. Major respect for the moving industry. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I was going to jump right in because it's funny that you even say that, because in our industry, there really is no certification. You're not going to some college or university going, okay, teach me how to become a mover. What are the skills? What are the steps and processes to educate myself, and what certificates am I walking away with? Which is, I think, why things like Tighten Up training, which you're a part of, that has been a fundamental key now coming into 2024 for movers to really enhance their skills. But
and the truth is, I don't get paid to push that. At the end of the day, I joined up with them, and I gave a lot of my teachings that I do in normal business, and I put them into the Moving Titan Training Up program, Titan Training Program. And I will tell you, it's great stuff. It's mindset, it's business, it's life, it's all of those things. So I think if you are in the moving industry, I think it's a really good thing to be a part of that. But neither here nor there. As for my story, to give you the quick synopsis, believe it or not, I am not a guy. I do not like talking about myself, man. I hate it. I am not an influencer. I make fun of influencers. I just not who I am. I'm a person of value. I want to give value to people. And if inspiring people comes out of that, then I'm really grateful. But down here in Tampa, Florida, I am partners with my friend Nick Holmes with the contracting company. We're called The Contractor, and we build barndominiums, and we are a house builder as well. We like to consider ourselves the barndominium experts, and it's a flourishing business. It's real estate, it's construction. It's what I've known my whole entire life. But more passionate has been marketing. And at the end of the day, when I was on stage with Mello and Sean and Elliot, John Hamilton asked me a question, and he said, "Hey, how did you get into marketing and radius marketing and all that other stuff?" And the first thing that I truly wanted to say was people need to truly understand that you're not just a moving company first. You're not a contract. You are a marketing company first. And people need to think about that every single day when they wake up. It's not only how am I marketing my business today, how am I marketing my other brand ambassadors around me so my business grows organically. And if you have that mindset, that mental fortitude of I'm a marketing company first, your business will just flourish. So I started a marketing company out of necessity, to be frank. In 2008, the bottom fell out in construction. That was during the Obama times. I worked for a company, D.R. Horton. They were the largest builder in the United States, and our division shut down, major layoffs, other divisions kind of like combined all together. And it was a bad time, man. And although I was a young man, 28, 29 at the time, I still needed to, I had to make money for the family, right? And that was my major source of income, working for D.R. Horton. I never had my own business at that time, but I really knew that I liked marketing. So I had to take a job at Lowe's. And I think I talked about this briefly. You might have heard it, might have not. I took a job at Lowe's as a department manager at this time of my life. Did anything I could just to put, food on the table for my family, and people think I've always had life easy, man, and it's not. I wore that red smock. I went to work, I punched the clock, and I figured it out. And when I was there, I thought to myself, I was really into cycling back then. So I know you see this big 250-pound dude, but I was about 215 pounds. I was into triathlons. I was running a lot. I was cycling. I was swimming. Every time I wanted to go get a kit, a cycling kit, it's like $300, $400 for these cycling kits to look the part. So finally I said to myself, I wonder if someone would sponsor me. So long story short, very long story short, I went to Rita's Italian Ice. And I don't know if you know what that is, but there's an Italian ice thing down here that goes in and out of business a lot for a franchise. But I went to the owner and I said, hey, would you sponsor me? I'm like, sure. What do I get out of it? I'm like, well, I'm going to wear your logo all year long. I'll have my name wrapped around it, your name, all that stuff. And I'm going to go do these triathlons everywhere. And if I'm in the paper or if I'm on social media, like it's always going to be Rita's 100%. I'll market you or, I'll sponsor you. So my brain, went off, and all these athletes at that time, they're like, they're paying big bucks for these kits. So I created a site at that time, and I said, it's called RW Sports Marketing. It's all dead now. It's called Regan Weiss, RW Sports Marketing. And I created this site, and I recruited athletes. So I recruited all these top-notch athletes, and I was like, hey, do you want free gear? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you care if it says Viagra on it? Do you care if it says
right?
Do you care if it says Home Depot on it? Do you care? No, right. Not at all. As long as it has my name on it. So I started doing that, and I started making money, thousands upon thousands of dollars a month, getting athletes sponsored, and I was like the NASCAR of athletes. It was kind of cool.
It's Blake with Midtown Moving and Storage here. I wanted to take a moment to show off some of these handwritten letters that Moving Letters AI has done for us. These are absolutely incredible. These are handwritten letters that they made for us with my name, me and my wife. It has a phone number for us on there as well. We have seen some extreme success with these things so far. We only started about 2 weeks ago with them, and they were able to get us already about 10 estimates out. And I think 3 of those have booked with us so far. And they have been just absolutely incredible. And we just booked, I think this morning, a $15,000 job with them. So I highly, highly recommend, if you guys have not tried Moving Letters AI, to give them a call. Matt is incredible. Zach's also incredible. Give them a call. And yeah, man, they're great.
I worked at Lowe's, did what I had to do to provide for my family, started the NASCAR of cycling for athletes. And that's how I got into the marketing world. And I will tell you a bit, because of that, other people were able to see my talents and showcase my talents. So then I started getting offers from companies like, hey, will you come work for my company and be the marketing director? And then I did that, right? So then I was a marketing director for a company. And then while I was there, I got an offer. A guy comes in, he's like, oh my gosh, you're everywhere. And I see what you do for the community. He's like, would you come work for me? And I'm like, all right, well, it's going to take a lot for me to leave this, to leave this office. And he was like, Italian guy. He's like, I'll meet you at dinner. We'll have lunch together. Like, wrote down my number on a napkin of how much I wanted a year. That was the kind of meeting it was. I showed him my number. He looks at it. He goes, you start work Tuesday. Like that, nice. Dude, just, godsend after godsend. And, worked there for many, many years as their marketing director. And I realized, I said, man, I'm making these people a lot of money. I'm doing well. I can do this for myself. Like, what am I doing? Like, I was always very reserved, Mark. I'm just being really transparent. I was the guy, like, I didn't want to take the leap because I was getting paid very comfortably. You know what I mean? Like, I had the cars, I had the income, I had what's the point? So long story short, and actually small plug, it's in my book. I wrote about it. My wife and I go hiking out west. We're going through Havasu Tribe. You got to look it up, man. It's the most beautiful thing on the planet. You feel like you're in a different planet, but the waterfalls and all this stuff. So anyway, we're out there, and to make a very long, dramatic story short, I saw the pool of water, and I was like, "Babe, let's jump in. Like, let's go." She's like, "Water's kind of cold." I'm like, "No, let's do it. I'll get the GoPro. We'll jump in." Well, we jump in. I convince her. We get sucked into a current. We get launched over a waterfall. Like literally, we're gonna die. I think I'm gonna die.
Sure.
I try to push my wife over to the side to the bank. Like this is it. Like that was in my head. Like I'm done. And I remember going over chest first, and I hit the bottom, and I hit the rocks on my chest, bounced off, went in the water, got tumbled underneath. And I just remember going, "Oh my God, I'm not dead." And I would come up. And by the time I got up to catch my first breath, I saw her coming over the same waterfall. And then she comes over, gets tumbled in the water, comes up. She gets pushed to the left of the riverbank. I'm on the right of the riverbank. We have scars on our hands and wrists till this day from that moment. And I just remember thinking to myself, "What the hell am I doing? Like, why am like all these risks I'm not taking when my life could have been over like that?" Right?
Oh, do you feel though, and thanks for sharing that story. I mean, to me, it's one of those stories where you really uh, take a step back and go, okay, like, my life. Here's my life. Your flash before, you see all those movies and everything else. It's like a whole quick fast forward story of everything that's going on in your life going, what did I do? Did I make my achievements? Did I love my family? Did I say I love you to my kids? Like all these kind of things before your life could be over. And were you seeing yourself at that time that even though you had the cars, you were making the money, you were having a good job, because people like job security. I mean, look at, we were talking about the recession earlier. People like to have that locked in. People like a little bit of comfort, right? Like, and once you have that, it's exactly. But, where were you seeing yourself not being fulfilled? Because you see people now, when I see posts all the time, they're like, "Oh, it's a Saturday, but as a business owner, it's not really a Saturday," or, just because you're that business owner, work doesn't end at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m.
Right.
So sometimes people taking that jump go, yeah, but being a business owner is like way more work. So
it is way more work because you can't leave it. You can't leave it at work. Like, trust me, there was a time where I enjoyed clocking out, and my weekend was my weekend. Like, at the end of the day, you're only going to live to a certain extent. And don't get me wrong, dude. Having things is great. Like I'm 45. I'm at that age in my life where I have things, but in order to get those things, I had to make a lot of sacrifices. But now that I have the things, I'm like, none of it really matters. Like it really doesn't. Like it's cool, but it's not what fulfills me. It's really not. So I learned that the hard way. But to answer your question, yes, all of that went through my head. What if I did this? What if I did that? I could have been further. Why didn't I do this? And, I struggled with it, and I was teetering already before that trip. Like, do I, after this trip, do I go back and say, I'm done and go all in? And to be frank, I never really had this conversation with my wife. And I kind of, like I told you at the retreat, I don't have those conversations with my wife. My wife just needs to know everything's taken care of. Business is good. Bills are paid. We don't talk drama because she don't want to hear that. So at the end of the day, we go over. It was a moment, dude, to get back up that mountain that night, hiking 20 miles in and out in one day. It was a big thing.
Wild. That's wild.
I'm on the way. We see literally gnawed off from a coyote, a donkey's leg, rattlesnake, scorpion on the rocks. I'm like, I thought I was going to die. I told her, my wife is such a physically strong human that, like, I'm like, babe, you got to go get help. This is going to be either a Lifetime movie or on 2020 that you killed your husband. You got to go get help. And, that she's like, nope, let's go. She literally grabbed my rucksack, and was like, and 6 inches by 6 inches up the steps of switchbacks till I got to the top. And the whole time I'm like, we got to the top. It was emotional. Like I cried, she cried. It was a big thing. And like now we tell the story. She's like, you're such a wimp. And I'm like, yeah, you were crying with me, babe. Like, whatever. We would have got through it anyway, but it was a big thing. Definitely, for me, for sure. And I told her, I go, I'm done. I'm done working for people. I'm done. I'm just going to go do my own thing. So, and I knew at the same time I was very good, like I said, at marketing. So I started my own construction company, but I had the mindset of a marketing guy first. And we did really, really well right off the bat because of that. And it's like, everyone's like, well, you came out of nowhere. Where did you come from? And that whole concentration for all those years were just build business, build community, build business, build community, build business, build community. And then during all of that time, then COVID hit, and then we hit, people were freaking out during COVID. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick together. We're going to build a network together. When everyone's talking about the stupid ass gas prices, we're going to talk about how awesome the world is that we live in. And we just stayed positive. And from that became my own network called the Hub Network, which now has 44,000 people on it. And in the local in the Tampa Bay area. And what it has become is a funnel, not just for myself, a funnel for the community. And now we're opening up hubs in different states and showing people, building SOPs for people and showing people how to network the right way. It's kind of cool, man.
So let's it's so cool. And you just touched on about like 5 different topics. So I want to kind of pick away at some of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about how you were really strong in the marketing game, and then you got into construction. Now I know that you had construction in the blood already, prior to going off on your own, but a lot of guys that look at branching off on their own. Some of them say, well, I'm a really good packer. I'm a really good mover. I can move somebody's house like nothing, but I don't understand the business side of things. Or I have business background, but I don't understand a lot of the moving aspects, or I want to open up different divisions. What did you have to do? What was like a step, because obviously you're talking about one of your partners, Nick Holmes. How did you find someone to take the leads going, okay, you're going to be the GC. I'm going to deal with marketing. That's my forte. Like, was that something that, through other guys that you met said, hey, you know what, honestly, Regan, if you're going to do this, your forte is this, let's get someone that really excels in that department.
You know what's really awesome about you, dude? You figured that out and picked up on that just looking on the outside. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what I know. My business acumen, I know where my shortcomings are, and I know where my strengths are. And we all speak in transparency. And I said that from the very beginning with my relationship with Nick Holmes. We're always going to be upfront with each other, whether it hurts our feelings or not, because that is the only way we're going to grow. This is where I'm good at. This is where you're good at. Let's merge these services together. Let's merge our brains together and launch. And that's exactly what we did. And quite frankly, I did that with the construction company I had even prior. Like, this is what you do. This is what I do. And the beauty part is, you think you've learned all these different things, even the business acumen, the number side, all that stuff, QuickBooks, insurance, workman's comp, all the stuff that
sure.
Stuff you hate, but you gotta know about it. But I want to say, man, from a very young age, I might walk around tall and proud and my chest out, but I'm also very humble to realize what I don't know. And so I've always surrounded myself with people that just know more than me. So I listened to my elders, and I did, man. I found people in that industry that knew their shit, and I listened and I shut up. And every time I entered a room with the professional in the room, I shut up. And when I was asked a question, you want my marketing expertise? Sure, here comes Regan. Other than that, I'm going to sit back and shut up. So yeah, I had to learn. Oh, look at that! I got fireworks. I don't know what happened. That's cool. What's going on right now? But anyway,
marketing hype.
That was awesome. Got the hype there. But yeah, so that's what happened. I just surrounded myself with the right people. The good thing is that till this day, now I know those things to do, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do them either. I'm not that guy. The person that needs to do their part of the job needs to do their part of the job. People need to realize, especially in the moving industry, you can do it on your own, but you're only going to go so far. You got to bring the right people in. They might not be partners, but they could be great employees and good number twos,
Totally. And, we're, and I want to kind of transition into the next topic, which is about marketing. And something you said in one of your podcasts was, hey, look, you know what? I might look like this big guy that's like hyped up. You might see me on Facebook and I'm talking on the cameras and everything else, but I'm a little bit of an introvert. Like when I go out for dinner, it's just me and my wife and my 3 daughters, and like that's it. And what you see sometimes on camera is totally different than what you see outside. And it totally made me reflect. I remember, I don't know, this is like going back maybe 20 years. I get invited to a party. One of my buddies is, in this was a biker, and it was almost like HA guys, right? Like Hell's Angel, like whatever type of like biking group. And from the outside, you see these guys are hyped up, right? Like they're roaring on their bikes, everything else. You go inside and they're like, so I just bought a minivan, and my kids are going on vacation and we're just doing this. And you're like, what the hell did I just walk into? Right? There's the hype, and then there's just the regular guys. And I think for a lot of us that might find ourselves as introverts, and we're like, man, I can't do that. I don't want to take a camera in front of me and set up that big global, for doing Instagram videos and Facebook videos and put myself out there. But what, like, marketing is a generated hype. Like, you got to hype it out. Like, what innovative strategies have you used, to kind of get yourself out there when you are like someone that just wants to so hang out with your friends and do.
People need to realize there's showmanship to being a business owner, right? Because if Mark, if you're going to go out there and you're going to market your business, you're going to be like, hey guys, I'm Mark and this is what I do. God, I hate the camera, but and the awkward, it's no one's going to pay attention to that. And you're not a leader that anyone would want to attach themselves to, right? There has to be some kind of showmanship. And this is why I tell everyone, and they think I'm crazy. I don't care if you're in the moving industry, landscaper, roofer, get your butt into public speaking classes and get your butt into acting classes at your local schools or your local art institute. Like, invest in yourself. Dude, look, Mark, not being evil here, but how much money you spend on retreats, how much money you spend on that, take those dollars and cents, put that directly into public speaking class, acting class, so you can articulate your message, become comfortable on camera, get out of your own psyche, get out of your own head, right? And then go ahead and put on your show, but do it authentically. Like, you can put some showmanship on, but it's got to be authentic, man. You got to be who you are, but that doesn't mean you can't articulate it properly, right? A little bit of showmanship with it. Like, it all goes with it. And then people just gravitate to that. It's literally that simple. So people are like, well, you did this? You're darn right I did it. And then I recognized a long, long time ago that this mechanism that you and I are talking on right now is the key to success. Your phone will make you tens of millions of dollars if you know how to articulate your message, moving or not. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? But if you're in the moving industry, let's think about it. Let's go for Tampa Bay, right? I'm in every business owner in Tampa Bay moving companies. Now, mind you, I got Wade in my territory now, which I did not even know two college brothers existed prior to the Titan. Because you know what? Wade wasn't even doing enough videos. He was known in your industry, 100%. Between you Titans, right? The Titans are the men of, but as a community, it wasn't. Now, wait, we need more videos. We need more content. We need more this. We need more that. Listen to me. I work with HVAC companies, roofing companies, all moving companies. Now, thank God, because the Titans, I'm working with a lot of moving companies, and I'm grateful for it. But there's going to come a time, just like with my HVAC companies, you are going to have a full-time employee at some point just shooting content of your company every single day. And for your new employees, and maybe you might want to instill this in your new SOPs, but whoever you hire, when you start interviewing, hey, by the way, do you do social media? And what do you do in social media? Do you know how to maybe edit videos? Are you cool making content? It becomes part of their job description. And guess what? They get paid the dollar more, man, because they're doing something extra for you. Like, this is going to become the norm. And if this moving industry, if you guys don't figure this out soon, you're going to be left behind because someone's going to do it. Right? Like, Mark, that's what's going to happen, bro. So you got to get ahead of this game. And that's, you know what? I got up on stage and people are like, well, what is it that you do? That's actually one of the things I do with 43 Inc. Like, I come out to your business. I go through it. I look at everything that you're doing incorrectly and how you're not properly spending your marketing dollars. Find the people in all you need is, you know what's funny? They're like, oh, I got 20 employees, 30 employees, even 10 employees. You need one guy, one loyal guy that's going to shoot content for you. You train them and teach them, bring somebody in your office to teach them and train them the social media expertise, and you will be omnipresent and you will be everywhere. That's what marketing's all about, man. It's showmanship, but authentic showmanship. That's a long answer, but go ahead.
No, I like it, and I really appreciate it, because it really kind of dives into, when we talk about shaping our brands in like the community, because you had talked about the hub, which like HUBlife Charities that you had started and created, and when COVID was going on, you had talked earlier about saying, man, I got to bring this community back together. Like, we got to do something, and you created something that has turned into quite a experience around Halloween, with the Halloween, right?
Yep.
And we don't have to go too deep into it, because unless someone is not located in Florida, you guys can check it out, and see online what HUBlife Charities does. But you have started a charity that is giving back to the community, giving back to those less fortunate in different areas.
Right.
But you also strategically made it so that you are building that brand within your community. Like, what ways could moving companies craft that brand to give back? Like, if they were like, well, I don't know if I could start like a thing called the Hub, or start a charity, but what you recommend?
Anyone could start it, and this is my number one what you need to do if you're in sales. If like I don't know, and forgive me because I don't know the ins and outs of your business. I hope to one day, but is it your guys selling? Do you have specific salespeople? Is it all online? Is it both for you? I want to use
So for us, we really pride ourselves because we've been around for 110 years. So like Salmon's in the Vancouver area and the West Coast is well known, right? Like, we were the horse and buggy moving company that has evolved. And so we have our salespeople that go out to see their homes. Like, we like people coming out to their homes and everything else. Also online too.
You should know what you should do a beta test, brother. Pick your best salesman, the one that you know that's going to make video. And instead of him or her talking every single day just about your company, why don't we start talking about the community? Why don't we start talking about the local mom and pop coffee shops, the ice cream shops, the sewing shops, the shoe shops, right? Anything where you go get your laundry done. Why don't we start talking about where we go have our breakfast, where we go have our lunch, the places we have dinner with, and start collaborating with other business owners? You do not have to even talk about your business, for goodness sakes. You talk about others, and then everyone else finds out what you do. And then guess what? Let's say it's you, Mark. Mark's the guy that always lifts up my community. Mark's the guy that's always talking about Joe Blow's sandwich shop down the street and how fantastic it is. And then guess what? Now, because Joe Blow loves you, because you're on his social media, he's going to start sharing your stuff, and you're going to start sharing his stuff, and business to business to business to business. And that's guerrilla marketing at its finest. That's grassroots marketing at its finest. That is how you connect to your community. So I built a multi-million-dollar contracting company. Okay, buddy, listen to this. With $2,000 budget the first year for marketing. $2,000. That's all I had, dude.
That's it.
That's all I had. At $2,000, all I did was boost my videos and radius market them over specific high-end developments because I wanted to get those projects. Now, mind you, my friend, I started a contracting company and never even did a remodel underneath that initial brand. But act as if and show people your history and where you're from and what you've done. And guess what? One of the first bathrooms I ever did was an $85,000 remodel. Why? Because I was talking about the places around downtown, and I became what? A signature of that community. Do you understand?
Right.
So you become that guy, you become that gal, you become the person with the answers, but you do it authentically. You can't just pick any business down the street, Mark. What if it's someone that's not doing a good job? What if they don't make a good sandwich? What if it is a shitty cup of coffee? And then here you are putting your brand and your name with that? Nah. No way. You got to make sure it's someone you truly appreciate, respect, and love and admire, and they know they're going to do a good job when you put their name out, right? So
yeah. So basically, to wrap that up, when you're going out there in your community and you are going to those coffee shops, you are going to those restaurants or the laundry, don't just pick and stand up front and go, okay, hey, I really like this person, and they got 200 one-star ratings. make sure that you are proud of who you are recommending and working in your community with.
You have to connect with the right people, and you got to make sure they're doing a good job. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in jeopardy, and vice versa. They're doing the same thing.
What I want to also talk about is at the Moving Titan retreat, we were talking about relationships, and I talked about this as in my intro, why I texted my wife how much I love and appreciate her. And I want you to kind of elaborate on that, because you called out a lot of guys at the retreat to make sure you go for it. Like, what was the big spiel?
So I also want to preface this too for the people that I hope that they're going to watch this from the Titan retreat. I also want to take this moment to apologize, Mark. I recognized I swore a lot more than I normally do, and a lot of my friends reached out to me like, "Bro, what? Are you okay?" He's like, "Were you having I go, I think I was having a moment," and I remember I was having a conversation just prior to being on stage, which was an aggravating conversation. So I think my mind was going. But anyway, I want to apologize for I dropped the F-bomb a lot. It was too much. But to get back into it, we were talking about the millennials in the room and having a support group of people around you. And then it triggered me in regards to your significant other. Now, some of the best advice that I've ever given, and I give this advice to high schools when I go speak at high schools, and they think I'm crazy. And I'm talking to these high school kids, and I say, all of you guys are thinking about the sports game you're going to go to tonight, or cheerleading, or this or that, but I really need you to think about this. And they're looking at me. I'm like, who you marry is the most important decision of your life. And everyone stops. And it depends on the demographic that I'm talking to or the age group that I'm talking to. But the kids get shocked. Men applaud it and love it. And the women do as well, because who you marry truly is one of the most important decisions of your life. Because if you don't have that support system, Mark, you are done for. And at the end of the day, in the very, very beginning of my life in business, it was tough for me and my wife, man. Very tough, Mark. She didn't understand it. Why can't you just leave it you lift work at work and you bring stuff home, and I'm working all the time, and now I have an office at home and I'm always working and I'm picking up the phone, and I'm like, and this is what I told my wife. So this is a true story. I said, you need to give me just 5 years and I'm going to change our life. She's like, what? I'm like, you just give me 5 years and I'm going to give you everything you've ever wanted. And not just he's a materialistic person. Everyone likes nice things, but
sure.
It's time. It was that time. And I did it in 3. And the story I did not tell was in our town, my wife's an avid runner, like 4 miles a day, no matter what. Like if she doesn't do that, I don't want to be around, right? Because that's like her coffee, right? So she runs this running route. And sometimes when I was running, I was able to run with her. And then as time went on, I bought a golf cart and followed her. And so we're up and down this running route. And she would always look at this house and she would say, one day, like that, literally like that comment, like one day. And I always felt it was like an ego punch, not intentional, right? But like a little bit of an ego punch. And I'm like, why can't I get that for her? Why can't I do that? So I finally put myself in a position to where the house went up for sale, man. And I missed it by 1 day. True story. This is crazy. This is how crazy this is. I missed it by 1 day. And that offer us, like that was probably the only chance at this age of our life, 40, whatever. I was 42 then, only stage of my, I'm going to get this. I'm like, cause it's the probably person who lived there 30 years, right? Well, a year goes by and the couple gets divorced. Crazy, right? They're lost my gain. They're lost my gain. My friend lists I'm like, list the house. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. My friend lists the house. So I see the sign go up, DJ, like whatever it is, go, full cash offer. Go. Just go. All right, man. And then here's what's really cool about it. Like, whatever it took, I was going to do no matter what. But the people were so cool. They're like, you don't even have to do cash. You can do conventional. You can do a contingent upon the sale of your home. Like the best financial thing on the planet where I didn't have to deplete, a lot of money.
Sure.
And, this is where it's godsend, man. And it happens. I sign the paperwork. I go home. My wife has no clue. I said, babe, get in a car. We drive over. It's ours. What? Like, that was the moment, dude. It was really, really cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're still there now. And, it's a beautiful home and nothing crazy, just a beautiful home that she always wanted, historic home. But the point of the whole thing here is, there was that time she doubted me, right? And that's why I told you, like, I'm like, you who you marry is the most important decision of your life. And there was doubt there. And I'm going to prove to her that don't doubt me, because this is what I'm going to do. And, and it progressed from there. So that's why it's so important to me, man, having the right people around you. And you, Mark, I'm sure I'm not saying your family, but in general, like, what I hear a lot of complaints all over the country, man, is their family doesn't support them. Not just their wife, but their fathers, their mothers, their sisters, their brothers. They laugh at you. I'm going to be a business owner. I'm going to be a mover. I'm going to be, you can't do it. I know you from your childhood. I know who you are. And you know what the problem is with family, buddy, and people that are close to you? They'll never see you for who you're becoming, only for who you were. Right?
Totally. It's so funny because I find we have so much in common, because it's, I have a very A-type personality wife who is always there to support me, but it's always the same type of thing. She's kind of like that Andy Elliott wife where she'll pinch me going like, what's happening here? Right.
Right.
What are you doing? But at the same time too, we'll go, look, I'm here to support you no matter what. Like, if we're going to be a power team, let's be a power team together. And it's funny when you were saying this, because my previous moving company, and I'm kind of breaking off on a side note, but the previous moving company that I had, my father would come into the office, right? Retiree, old European,
right?
Very like, I work 7 days a week type of style. And a friend of ours who was a business broker had stopped by the office, and he says, hey, guys, there's this moving company that's going up for sale. They're called Salmon's Transfer. They've been around for, the 100+ years. It when you drive to the airport, you see their warehouse. A lot of people in the moving industry knew who they were. And you guys should jump on this. I think this would be fantastic for Mark to invest in and expand where he's going for. I mean, we had a decent moving company. I had built this moving company out from 4 trucks to 14, but it was, I was hitting a roof. Like, there was no things like Moving Titans. They didn't have these type of networks that we do now, and I didn't know where to turn to. And the one thing my dad turned around, he said to this guy, he goes, no. Like, Mark's not interested. This guy doesn't even want to work on weekends. He has kids. He just got married, like all of this kind of stuff. And I was just fuming that in my head, I'm going, you don't have trust that I can do this and actually make it work where I don't actually have to, be going in on weekends. The guy leaves. I phone him up. And I said, go set me up an appointment. And I set up an appointment with the lawyers, the financing, everything else. And then a couple months later, we had like a family function. And I said to my dad, I'm buying this company. And he was like flabbergasted. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you told me I couldn't? Well, guess what? I am. And my goal every year was this company is going to increase and be bigger and better, so that when you look at it, you're going to go, oh, okay, wow, like my son did it. And he goes home on the weekends and he spends time with his young kids, So it's one of those things where, down the line, he eventually was like, I'm so proud of you. You've done all this. But sometimes people need, like, especially guys, I think you kind of need a kick.
Yeah.
And that kick in the ass sometimes is needed to go. And you shouldn't let someone doubt you when you know you can succeed.
100%. And the majority of men need a kick. And quite frankly, I feel like that's what I wind up doing a lot with 43 Inc. is kicking them in the butt. That's what I hold people accountable. Like, did you do this with your team today? Did you do that? Did you do this? Are the guys doing this? Are they sending in the videos? Why aren't they doing it? How are you doing? Are you bettering yourself today? Did you set that date time with your wife? It's a lot of accountability, dude. Like, that's what a lot of it is. And I think, but we talked about this briefly at the retreat. It's lonely at the top, man. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. But when you're a business owner, you're basically one of the 1%ers, and that doesn't even mean financially. That could even mean a 1% mindset where you don't have things in common anymore with people. You just don't, and you don't relate the same way anymore. So it's really good to have a group of people with that like mindset, and it's difficult, man. It's very hard. I can't do. Like, I appreciate this, right? This is the conversation. We're telling stories. We're telling what we're doing. If you want to have small talk with me, dude, I am gone. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. Like, and don't get me wrong, there's certain relationships that you need to, have that with, like your partner or this, like, how's little Susie's soccer game or how's that? But when these employees or these guys are coming in and you want to talk about personal stuff during the course of the day, dude, that's called. So, really quick story, you'd appreciate this. I call that the Zika syndrome, Zika. This is a state representative in the state of Florida. It's one of the most profound things I've ever heard a state representative say, and a politician, because I don't like to get into politics. He told me from 8 to 5, best story ever, bro. From 8 to 5, if you walk into his office, there's no seats in front of his desks. He requires people to stand only in his office, get to the point, tell me what we need to do, and then move around your little merry way. After 5 o'clock, you want to talk to me about Susie's softball game? Let's go talk about it. But 8 to 5? No. I love it, dude. I'm like, that is amazing. But it's you setting the precedent and setting the tone of your employees, because, dude, right. Employees, Mark, I got to talk to you. Mark, you're not just the boss. You're a psychologist. You're a psychiatrist. You're a marriage counselor. You're a coach. You're this, you're that. We don't have time for a lot of that stuff. Like 8 to 5, it's business. We have an issue after. We'll talk after. We'll fix your problems after. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
I like that. I feel like I'm going to take the chairs out of my office now.
Do it.
Just get people. Yeah, right. We, it's always interesting to share these type of stories, and because you aren't, in the moving world, but you do the contracting. You did tell me now recently that you did move. Is there any funny, you probably moved multiple times, but was there any stories or things that you noticed from the movers that you hired that you're like, man, these guys killed it, or I would never recommend you do this?
So here's what's crazy. Before I even moved, and I didn't know Wade back then at all, right? But before I moved, I did my due diligence on just, okay, who's the most recommended in the area? And now, what's with the bloom? What's going on with this thing today?
Your phone's blowing up.
Blowing up. All right. So, anyway, I was looking at who was the most recommended online, right? But then I started doing my due diligence of are they just being recommended because they're in some B&I network together? Are they just, you know what I mean? It's like just some chamber, 300 people are just recommending each other because they pay. You know how people pay for those groups to support one another and pay?
Sure.
I want genuine recommendations. So what I recognized was something that a moving company actually took from my book, which I thought was fantastic, which was the video introduction. So when all these moving companies are like, hey, man, I put out there in a local chat, hey, I need a moving company. And all these people just push their ad up, post their ad, post a link to their website, post this, post that. But what happens when the owner pops on and says, hey, Mr. Weiss, I see that you're looking for a moving company. This is who I am. By the way, the link's below to my website. And this is our process and our SOP process. Who do you think's getting hired first, Mark? Who do you think's getting hired first?
So you do a post on Facebook going, hey, any recommendations on some movers? And I've seen it a lot of times too, where, you see it in your local area, someone's posting going, I'm looking for some moving company.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty as charged. I'm the type of person that goes, here you go. Here's our link. Give me a call. I'm the owner of the company. But you had somebody that actually posted a video, like the owner posted a video in that feed.
Legit video. And then the funny thing is, I was talking to him and the guy goes, you know what, bro? I learned that from you. It's on a local level, and that and here's the thing too. If you're a salesperson in any industry, so I know we're concentrating on moving here, but if you think about it, before you go out, man, and before you get to that customer's house and you say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm 10 minutes away from your home. Think about it. I'm 10 minutes away. This is who I am. This is what we're going to be talking about today in the sales process. That awkward first meeting when that door opens is now gone. It's now come in, Reagan. Come on in.
Right.
Come on in, Mark. It's over, dude. And then at the end, it's even better. It's even better because after you leave, because maybe their husband could have been there or the wife couldn't have been there, or either one, but they want to know what's going on. Another recap video 10 minutes after. Hey, Mr. Smith. Hey, Mrs. Smith. Thank you for having us in there today. I really appreciate everything. And by the way, here's a little bit of follow up and hope just go ahead and make sure your significant other sees this. So maybe if they have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them. Send, done, close, baby.
Oh, that's like a mic drop. Boom. That is so good.
Closed. And now
I love that. The follow-up. That is so genius.
No one does it, bro. No one does it. And I do it and I close every single time because of it. Because I simply decided to articulate my message, decided to be comfortable on camera, decided to educate myself, decided. That's the problem, buddy. It's decisions. People don't, or if they come up with an idea, they don't implement it, man. That's why I always preached, which is speed of implementation. If you have an idea, implement it, and it's going to happen 10 times quicker. People forget about that stuff.
Yeah. Now, and this is key to anybody that's listening. Regan has a book out called Keep Going. I'm giving you a bit of a plug, so you can find it on Amazon. Check it out. Keep Going. It's pretty safe. If you can't remember that title,
you type in "Keep Going" and then
exactly,
you'll find it. Yeah,
exactly. The truth definitely check it out. It's a good read.
Literally, I appreciate the plug. I really do. But here's the thing: I created that so easy, right? Like you read it, you can fill out. There's little memos and notes on the back. If you implement any of it, you're going to make more money for your company. Period. Just implement the book. And it's funny, and I'll follow up with people like a year later. I'm like, where are you at? Well, I implemented 1 and 2 and not 3 or 4. I go, why don't you just do all of it? Because there's no reason why you can't. It's all affordable. It all could be done. That's why I did it. So if I can do this, the guy that barely got out of high school, the only reason I went to college was to play football, dude. That's it. I didn't go to some genius, if I could do this, you can do this stuff too, and
I mean, honestly, Regan, we could talk all afternoon. Like this has been great. And I feel like there's been so many great nuggets in this episode that people that are listening to this are going to want you back on just so we can do more follow up.
I would do this live. You know what I want? You know what I think would be great, man? One day you set it up because it's your show, it's your industry. Yeah. Set up a Zoom where we can have 200 people on it, dude. And then this is the best thing. If people are willing to be vulnerable, Mark, that's how they're going to succeed. If you're willing to get on the Zoom and say, Reagan, this is my problem, then we're going to fix it in that moment. In the moment. How cool is that? Because I know for a fact, I guarantee out of those 200 people that might be on that Zoom, someone else is having that same problem. And if you're willing to do that and do it in the moment where you can implement change, that is when profound things happen. It's just profound. And everyone's got to start, dude, everyone needs to start thinking legacy. Marketing is cool. Business is cool. Once you start thinking legacy marketing, how will I be remembered 20, 30, 40 years from now? Did this guy launch my community? Dude, people think I'm crazy. I operate on that mentality. They're like, Reagan, why do you give a shit what your descendants think 200 years from now? Because this is the first generation, Mark, ever that 200 years from now, they're going to see this video of me and you, bro.
Right.
Great is going to see who Mark was. My great, and they're going to, you don't think I want to know why I tick the way I tick? Right? My family, I did my research because I have a fascination from where I came from. My family came over here, my bloodline came over here in 1889 from Ireland. On the boat,
wow.
I saw the signature. Crazy.
That's
crazy.
Cool.
Dude, you know what his title was? It was Henry Lytle, then it changed to Weiss during the time. Was sales, bro.
Sales. Really?
That was his sales clerk or whatever. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Why do I tick the way I tick? Why I am the way I am?
Totally.
So we're from a generation, we could just see pictures, black and white, the tie and sideways, black and white.
Sure.
That's all I saw. But now our descendants are going to go, holy shit, I'm just like my great grandfather.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's so cool. I think we're definitely in a time of like technology, and the impacts that we make are going to be shown, and that's where that legacy is going to be so key. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the idea. I think, for anybody that's interested, send me a message, whether it's on YouTube or on Spotify, if you are interested in being part of a Zoom. I'll post it up on our Facebook page as well, too, because we could definitely set this up and make it happen. I think, Regan wants to share with everybody his time, which is always valuable, and wants to help people. So if you have the same problems that you're noticing on this episode today, let's find a solution for it. Let's fix it. So thank you so much, Regan, for your time.
I appreciate you, man.
Anybody that's watching these couple parts, they're going to say, what the hell happened? But that's due to technology and some technical difficulties. And you know what?
Right.
You got the nuggets. They were there. So hope you heard them. Thank you again. And till next time.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you very much. Boom. There's my fireworks again. There it is.